To be like the Most High, oh yes, to be like the Most High is what we're supposed to try to be. Instruments of thy peace. Instruments of thy peace. Are we being instruments of thy peace? Do you think Donald Trump is a good example of the Most High? Do you think Donald Trump is a good example for children? Do you think Donald Trump shed blood for America? Do you think Donald Trump was crucified? Do you think Donald Trump rose again from the dead, ascended on high, and is coming again? They said, hell no. My friends over there said, hell no. They some cool guys.
A diversion. That's what a federal judge calls Donald Trump's Justice Department's request to unseal the grand jury testimony in the criminal case of Ghislaine Maxwell, in which she was convicted of sex trafficking for and with Jeffrey Epstein, who said he was Donald Trump's closest friend for 10 years. Diversion is what Donald Trump is all about now more than ever. Donald Trump doesn't want news media attention on his old friend Jeffrey Epstein and what the Epstein files might say about Donald Trump, where we know Donald Trump's name appears multiple times because his attorney general told him that. Donald Trump is sending the National Guard into Washington, D.C. 5 years late. Donald Trump didn't activate any troops on January 6th when his private troops were attacking the Capitol after he told them to go there and fight like hell. And he lied to them when he told them that he was going to go there with them. The biggest crime spree in the history of Washington, D.C. was on January 6th for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump did not send the National Guard that day. But the biggest crime spree in the history of Washington, D.C. was on January 6th for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump did not send the National Guard that day. But now Donald Trump wants us all to be talking about his decision to send just enough National Guard troops onto the streets of Washington, D.C., so that news cameras can get pictures of them, the same pictures we've seen from Los Angeles, where the troops had absolutely nothing to do and are there for no reason at all, other than as a diversion from Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, which may be described in the Epstein files in a way that Donald Trump wants to keep secret forever.
We might not think of the possibility that he could become the commander-in-chief of the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. My goodness gracious, folks. But wait a minute, I want to come to the truth about this. Hey, why has this become necessary? It's because there's a significant shortage of police officers. That's a major reason in Washington. Metropolitan Police Department is currently operating at a 50-year low in staffing, with a notable shortfall compared to the city's desired number of officers. The Metropolitan Police Department in Washington is currently staffed with just over 3,100 officers, while the city's budget allows for 4,000. Well, I want to tell you something. That leaves a deficit of 900. And the shortage has led the police union to raise concerns about the strain on the existing force and the potential impact on public safety. My God. And last week I discussed this same subject, a situation that exists in many places because of the tremendous increase in crime, and not only that, the ridicule. And we hear it right here on Talk Line from certain individuals. The ridicule.
Ain't no crime. The crime is lower. The crime is lower, so that's a lie.
Report of all things actually told the truth yesterday.
That's a lie.
The crime in D.C. has dropped in recent years. Now, here's the problem with that statement. If you put a period at the end of that sentence, it doesn't tell the whole story. But thankfully, she continued with honesty. And she says, however, crime is still high. You bet your britches it is. And thank you, lady. And I'll tell you that
no, that ain't the reason. Y'all know what the reason is. He want to divert.
She might be looking at a pink slip this morning, because the head of these fake news outfits, they don't want to tell the truth. But now, having heard the crime rate in D.C. has been dropping, what is the rest of the story? Well, you see, we must seek the facts. In 2023, Washington, D.C. had a high homicide rate that ranking among, by the way, the top 5 cities in the United States for homicides. And while violent crime rates in D.C. have been on a downward trend, that is true since 2023. There was a significant increase in homicides in 2023 that reached a 20-year high. And I want to tell you something. The president has the full right and authority to take over the district at any time in case of an emergency that's been declared. And I'm speaking of coming against those committing crime outside or inside of a building. Now, when he sent the troops to Los Angeles, that was a little different story. Those federal troops were sent there really to protect the federal buildings or whatever. That's not the case in D.C. And yet, now here we go, folks. Hear this. A guest on this PBS News Hour, once in a while I will slip in to tell my sins this morning, and I'll listen in, just last night. He had the audacity to engage in a classic example of brainwashing. I'm going to quote what this guy says. The real key is for folks not to become desensitized to the radicalization of using federalized police and military authorities for the ordinary law enforcement. That it might be legal in the historically and constitutionally unique context in Washington, D.C. doesn't make it right. And it would be a very dangerous precedent to build on that in other parts of the country. The emergency expires at the end of 30 days, and watch this, folks, and if the president tries to start another 30-day emergency period, that is when this might be taken into court. I mean, this guy, excuse me, folks, let me get off that subject, or my blood pressure is really going up. Now, it's going to get worse, though. Enter the #1 Trump hater in the United States. Who is that? Hillary Clinton. Did you see? She posted the following message on X.
I don't know about that. I think I'm the #1 hater of that demon.
Trump try to justify deploying the National Guard in D.C., okay? Here's reality. Violent crime in D.C. is at a 30-year low. Now, to Hillary, who's blinded to the truth, okay, I would say this to her. Lady, would you like to share your post with a gentleman in downtown Washington, D.C.? Several nights ago, some young hoodlums broke into his store and began taking up merchandise. And it's recorded on video. I watched the entire thing yesterday. Okay? And as they carried the merchandise outside, there were other young hoodlums that were standing out there waiting to haul away what had been stolen. But we must remember that one like Hillary Clinton, who has millions stashed away, she could care less about that store owner and having a robbery take place. And I'll tell you one thing: the White House press Deputy Press Secretary Abigail Jackson, she posted on X the following response to Miss Hillary: on top of being a big-time loser, you're also a massive liar. End of quote. Folks, all I'm doing is giving the truth this morning. I'm going to end with this. I got a late news bulletin. When it comes to those young hoodlums who broke into that store, their playhouse is about to be ended. When caught, they ought to be sentenced to the maximum legal limit. And I would hope with the proper punishment, that they would come to the truth and depart from their wicked ways. What is so sad, this is so sad, is that they were never raised up in the ways of the Lord. Those young people who are raised up in the ways of the Lord won't break into a store. I'll tell you one thing, Harry Myers never broke into a store, and nor did Jim Hogsett and these other listeners of Talkline. God bless you, sir. I love you. You take care of yourself. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Two. Nope, never broke into a store.
Ain't that some hypocrisy? Now that's some true hypocrisy. That man's brain is wired backwards. It really is. Something wrong with him.
Raised one of the windows and went inside. You know, stupid kid things. Really stupid stuff. It's just stupid.
These are damn fools.
In my stupid youth, I did a lot of dumb stuff. Most of it was not illegal. It was just stupid.
The Trumpers are goddamn fools.
We were thinking back.
And that man had just called us a fool.
About dumb stuff that we had done.
They oppress us.
Some of the things that I did. I used to raise pigeons and homing pigeons, and I had a group of homing pigeons that I had bought and was raising, and I wanted some more. But I had bought these, and they were very expensive. They brought them to me on the train, and that I was training them how to home to the places that we had built. Daddy and I had built for them, and I love these homing pigeons. And I decided that there were lots of pigeons in town. This was in Brookneal, Virginia. Lots of pigeons in town, and one of my best friends was Lou Foster. God, I even remember his name. Lou Foster and I went over to a warehouse, a tobacco warehouse in Brookneal, and we climbed up on the roof. That's where the pigeons roosted. And we were going to go and reach up under the eaves and grab some pigeons so that we would get pigeons for our homing pigeons. He had homing pigeons and I had them, and we were going to grab these things. Well, the roof was slightly headed down, and it was once you got up on the roof, it was a whole lot further around, and then the eave was way up underneath, so you had to reach them. Well, it was dangerous, so we tied a rope to our feet.
Oh my God!
We're like 10 years old. Tied a rope to our feet and hung us down, and reached up under to grab pigeons. That's what we were doing. Well, the police got a call and saw that. Well, they came up and started yelling at us, and we scrambled and got down quicker than the police could get to us, and we ran back to where we had started from, and which was at the Brookneal Elementary School, and we got, Daddy took us home. We were waiting for a ride for Daddy. Daddy was the principal there, and we were waiting for a ride, and he gave us a ride home. Well, the police chief.
Oh my, wait a minute.
Daddy said, and he said, "That's dangerous. Don't ever do that again." And I said, "Well, I'm sorry. I didn't think it was that dangerous. We had a rope tied around their feet." Daddy just, in order to keep from screaming at me, I guess he walked out of the room. But Lou Foster, his parents, when they found out about it, they were madder than my daddy was. Because I think, this is just me, and all these years later, I think he thought Lou Foster put me up to it. That really wasn't. I was too young and stupid to come up with a bad idea like that. And by the way, we didn't get any pigeons, so oh well. But we do stupid stuff, Young people do really dumb stuff. Now, the thing about Washington D.C. that amazes me is again, here we go. Somebody wants to make what's going on in Washington D.C. political, and it's not political. The President of the United States has the absolute authority to take over the police department there. The law is very plain. and they're down 900 police officers, and they have a murder rate that is down, but it's still high. They have a crime rate that is down, but still incredibly high. It's just awful. And the statistic that you're hearing, it's the lowest it's been in 30 years. Well, you need to look into the story about that, because that's not actually true. And they also have fired someone in the D.C. Police Department that was messing with the statistics, so they don't really know whether all that stuff is good anyway. But here's the deal: the crime rate is high in Washington, D.C. It's higher than it needs to be, and they're down 900 police officers. I would think that they would welcome some help from President Trump in D.C. And I think that as people start looking at that, they'll see that this is not a bad thing; it's a good thing. And again, it looks like the Democrats are going to end up on the wrong side of this. You know, law and order in Washington, D.C. is a good idea. It doesn't make any difference whether the police department in Washington, D.C. gets help from the National Guard or not. It's a good thing to make Washington, D.C. safe again, even if the crime rate is down somewhat. It's still too high. 222-9224. Let me tell you about a Carpet's Dream carpet cleaning. Des Brooks, I talked to him yesterday, had a conversation with him. He's a good guy. If you want to get your carpets cleaned, he said, we were talking to him, he said, "Cause they got time for you. They can get you in the system. They're ready to help you." So if now would be a good time to call Des, 336-524-3474. If you got a party coming up, or you're getting ready to do your spring cleaning in the fall, well, you can do that. So call the folks at a Carpet's Dream Carpet Cleaning in Burlington. They do steam cleaning of carpets and upholstery and tile in your home, your aquarium.
Good morning, Harry. Hope your morning's going well.
Doing great, doing great.
I tell you, y'all were playing some good music this morning. I had the radio on and played some good ones. But I guess today is the day of the Grizzlies. I sent you a picture. My sister and brother-in-law just got back from, they took a trip to Canada. Uh-huh. They rented a car up there, and she took that picture. They stopped long enough on the side of the road. That grizzly bear was in the bushes.
In the bushes hiding. He was, guys, all you can see is his head. You know, and he could pull his head down, and you wouldn't even know he was there.
Well, they said it didn't sit there long because they didn't know if he would charge or what was, would happen. So, but my son's got a place out in Union Ridge, and a bear ran, it was a black bear, ran across his front yard. And, they spotted one over here, a year or so ago over at Alamance Country Club over there, Saddle Club. And, there's one on the news this past week where one got up on somebody's deck and tried to scratch his way in the house or something. They're curious animals. But
I saw this picture of a bear. This was in California. The reason they got the picture was because they had a Ring doorbell camera. So the bear, the Ring sensed the movement. The bear got up. He walks. He ambles up onto the porch, stands up full speed, opens the door, reaches over and turns the knob, pushes the door open, and goes in the house. Well, they've got a camera in the house, and he goes straight to the refrigerator. He opens the refrigerator, messes around in there, grabs something out of the refrigerator, and goes flying out the door. I mean, now that is amazing. And then another picture. This was also in California of a bear right in the middle of the swimming pool, just swimming his little heart out, just loving it.
Well, they had a video a couple of years back where a bear got up on somebody's deck and got in the jacuzzi and was laying back like a person in the jacuzzi. A bear's got some sense, because you look at old Yogi Bear and Boo Boo, they got some pick-a-nickel baskets. But I was going to tell you, I know y'all have cats for pets and everything, but for about the last 3 years, over here at the house, there's been a a big gray rabbit. It probably weighs 10 pounds, I'm going to say. It's as big as a small dog. And I feed it probably at least 2 pounds of baby carrots a week. Mm-hmm. And I went up there this morning. Every time I get up about sunlight and look out there, this morning he was just stretched out there on the driveway,
waiting for carrots.
I carried him a handful of carrots out there, and he went over there and ate. And then he'll come back. He'll come back the next morning. He'll be running around eating some grass or something. But it's curious the way animals, if you get to know them or they get to trust you, I guess, it's kind of curious. And I feed. I've got a spot out here in the yard. I feed thistle seed. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about the pigeons. Mm-hmm. I put thistle seed out there all the time, and I've counted as many as like 22 doves out there at the time, and the finches. There's so many finches that eat it. It's hard to even count them. But it's kind of a hobby, I guess you'd say, to have a pet.
Oh yeah. I tell you what, mine are something. They really are. We're way down. We used to have 7 dogs and 27 cats. Now we have 1 dog and 4 cats. So and they just, some of them went away when they got spayed and neutered. You never saw them again, and others, lived a long and happy life, getting fed every day and taken care of, and it's died a natural death. I mean, it's just been nice. But we have 1 dog now, Vinny, and 4 cats. So we're in good shape.
Well, if somebody else comes up with another one, I'm sure you'll take it in.
No, I don't know about that.
Hey, just be careful with them bears, because I don't know if you can train a bear to keep in the house or in the backyard.
Well, on Facebook they have people that have adopted bear cubs, injured cubs that they have found in the woods. There's quite a few of those on there. Most states don't allow you to keep an animal that big, but there are some states that allow it. And these bears, they become just household pets. They really are. They just, when they're injured and you can't ever get them back into the wild, that's where they need to be, in the wild.
Yeah, I'll turn them over to a zoo that'll take care of them or something,
Appreciate it. You take care. He sent me a picture this morning. Call Amy or Lisa at 336-264-1377. Now, if you like to bid online, they've got an online bidding site that you can go to, villagesquareauctions.hibid.com. They've got a lot of consignment items on there, and you can bid on them. I've done that, bid quite a few times there on Village Square. Lisa Flynn, she is the auctioneer. Amy there in the office. So check them out. You tell them you heard us talking about them on Talkline. You're listening to WBAG, Burlington Graham.
Don't let the name fool you.
Alamance Fence, they've been helping people with their fencing needs since 1959. They're over at 1223 Vaughn Road here in Burlington. You can call them, 336-228-8274. Talk with Drew or one of the other nice folks over there. They're so friendly. Whether you're talking to the people in the office or the folks out in the field, they do great work. They can improve the appearance and value of your home or your business with a beautiful fence designed by Alamance Fence that will define your property. They've put their experience to work for you for a chain link fence, an ornamental fence, a privacy fence in wood or aluminum, vinyl, split rail. They do commercial fences, temporary, industrial, farm fencing, electrical gate openers, dog kennels. They can do all that and more. They do great work, and they can design a fence that'll be perfect for your property. So check them out, Alamance Fence. Tell them you heard us talking about them on Talkline. Right, 222-9224. Good morning. Hey there, how are you?
Oh, I am just fine. Sound like you're having a good morning this morning.
Yeah, I had a good morning yesterday. I enjoyed talking about, you and I were talking about cats. I just, sometimes it's nice to just get away from anything controversial and just talk about bears and cats and dogs. I love it. Or antiques. Now, I love talking about antiques.
Yes, because it gets us back into the real world and not into the world of what some people want it to be. And I'm telling you this from the heart. I feel sorry for two of your callers, and I won't name their names, but you know who I'm talking about. They don't seem to have a very happy life. They always seem to be looking for what they think is wrong. And
He's talking about the two black
I
callers.
pity them because with all the complaints they have, and it's always about the same thing, that's what it boils down to every time. There's just no joy in their conversation. Our conversations yesterday, I had 2 or 3 of my people that know who I am. I met some of them for lunch, and then I went over to one of their houses.
See, if you oppose any of these racist people in Alamance County, this is what they come back with. You see what I'm talking about here in Alamance County? These are some racist ass motherfuckers.
The one that sat in my lap for a whole summer, helping me get well after some extreme major surgeries that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have fond thoughts of that cat. And I can just close my eyes and he'll be sitting in my lap again. And a lot of times I'd wake up, just sitting out on the back porch in a chair, just trying to get well, trying not to die. And I'd wake up and he'd be staring right at me. Had blue eyes, and that big old black mask on his face, and them black ears. And once in a while he'd take his paw and pat my stomach. It's almost as that cat could feel the pain and the anguish that I was in.
I think they can. I think they do recognize how we feel. I think that, some people just think that's crazy. No, they recognize that you're feeling bad, or you're hurting, or you're sad, or you're happy. They know all those things. I have a cat, Della. She is one of our rescues. She was the Cajun restaurant that they used to have. What she would do is she'd come out from the sewer, out of the water system, not the sewer, but the drainage thing, and run up to the back of that restaurant when the lady there at the restaurant would put out food, and she'd grab something and go flying back into the storm drain. And
wow.
And she knew where the food was going to be. Just tiny little kitten. They never saw any other kittens, never saw the mama. This one cat would live right there in that storm drain and come flying out of there anytime she put any food back there. Well, that girl, we had known her, and she said, "Could you take one more?" And we said, "Sure, we'll take that one." So Della came to our house, and she has never gotten big. She is a tiny, looks like a kitten, and she's like 3 years old. She's just a tiny little thing. Well, she'll walk in when I'm watching basketball or football or baseball or whatever. She'll come in, and she tries to decide whether she wants to jump up on my lap. She'll sit right at the base of the couch and look up at me and see whether I'm real excited. If I'm not excited, she'll climb up and get in my arms and go to sleep.
Nice conversation.
Yes, sir. All right, 222-9224. Cat.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
You think it's sort of raining up
It's so I've heard. But it's always a beautiful day in my neighborhood because we don't have neighbors hanging around us, talking and staring, all that good stuff.
Yeah. If you had a neighbor like I've got, Don got to be the best neighbor that anybody ever had in their life. I was talking to him yesterday. He's amazing. I tell you what, if you had neighbors like that, I could have 3 of them if they were that good.
Well, I got neighbors, 7/10 of a mile away.
Exactly. There you go.
That's close enough for me. I run into them occasionally. They talk. They seem to be pretty nice people. And we just ask them how they're doing and wish them well, and then we move on. They're not in need of anything, but if they was to ask me, I would do the best I could do to help them all I could. Yeah, that's just the way it is. But in this day and time, you gotta remember what's going on around you. Pay attention. I mean, things ain't like it was in the 60s and 70s, where you felt like you could go somewhere and not have to worry a whole lot. But the news media wasn't as together is like now, and everybody didn't have a phone on them. And news didn't travel like it did. And it may have been as bad, but we didn't know it.
You just said something I thought was interesting. I used to, but don't anymore, watch 60 Minutes, way back when 60 Minutes was great. They had a story on there. You're talking about cell phones. Everybody's got a cell phone. They had this story about Holland and the country of Holland, where everybody had a cell phone, and the person that was on 60 Minutes said, the same thing is going to happen to the United States. And I thought to myself, oh, that'll never happen. And now everybody has a cell phone. Some people have two.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen them with 3 on their hip. And all big phones lined up. It's like if they was the businessman of the world. I'm thinking, there ain't no way he can have a peace of mind, because he's stressed all the time.
How many cell phones do you need? I mean,
3 of them.
I can't even manage the one I've got.
And I'm happy when I leave mine at home. Now, you said Sunday, for instance, me and my wife, I took her for a motorcycle ride. She's been pretty good last week. So I told her, I said, look, come Sunday, we'll ride at the Lover's Leap and have lunch up at Meadows of the Dam. And then we'll pick us a route and come on back. And I reckon we rolled in about 5 o'clock coming back, and she was real happy back there. I never heard her say anything. She didn't lean forward and ask me nothing. That's how I knew that she was relaxed. And she was enjoying the ride. And it had been a year since she'd been on the bike. Since that last little episode we had in Florida. So, it was a good thing to do. So I enjoyed that, but I didn't have my phone with me, and she never pulled hers out that I know of.
At least if she'd had an emergency, she would have had hers with her. So there you go.
Well, she would have had hers if we'd have had an emergency.
Yeah.
Now, I did see a wreck up there. It happened 10 seconds before we got there. The wreck happened. I'd say about this. It was still rolling down the road, it looked like, off the car. It might have been the wind blowing.
So when you got up there, you didn't feel like you wanted to leap off of Lover's Leap?
No, you couldn't actually get to it too good. They cut that whole mountain behind Lover's Leap. They cut it down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew they'd been doing
It's all gone. They cut that hill down. Now, you actually you see a view that you don't normally see, because it was on the back side of Lover's Leap, and the way it come through there, you couldn't see what was actually behind you. It was in front. It was kind of a northern look,
Sure.
And but now you can see as you're going up the mountain, it's a quicker ride. I hate they took the old highway out like it did, or like it's going to happen. Because that's been there so long, They changed where 8 runs into it. And I don't know how the ending outcome is going to be on where Highway 8 comes in, that takes you back over to Floyd, I think.
Yeah, I hadn't been up that way in a while. We used to go up that way going to Hillsville, and I hadn't been up there since we stopped going to Hillsville. So, all right, listen, I appreciate it.
All right, Harry, listen, just remember, to pay attention to, because things is going to change quick in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. All right.
Just keep an eye on it for me.
All right, I'll do it. Appreciate it. 222-9224. I think that since they're down in Washington, D.C., 900 police officers, I think the National Guard's going to make a lot of people happy up there. I don't think, if you want to criticize something that Trump does, there are a lot of things that he's doing that are easy to criticize. This shouldn't be one of them. Trying to make Washington, D.C. safer again, I think if you pick that as something you want to criticize, that's not a good idea. But there are people criticizing. Hakeem Jeffries was talking about how it was a bad idea. To try to make Washington, D.C. safer, I don't get that. I really don't. That's not one that I would, stake my claim on. I would say, okay, good, excellent. Let's make Washington, D.C. safer again. I think that's a good idea, and then move on. 222-9224. I want to tell you about Select Bank. Select Bank and their employees take a lot of pride in Alamance County. They live here, they work here. They're at 3158 South Church Street, Select Bank is. And when you walk in the bank, you can feel how friendly it is right away. Select Bank is committed to strengthening our local neighborhoods and our small businesses and our people by being a trusted partner.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well. Hope you are.
Yep. I'm doing better because they've been putting me on different medicine for that diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you something this morning. Where you people don't know what you're talking about. You understand what I'm saying? You got to live these things to know it. Don't be talking about straightening up Washington. How you going to straighten up Washington in 69, 70, 71, 72, 73? Listen, if you know anything about Washington, you know 14th Street. 14th Street at 12 o'clock at night, as far as you could see, and you can see the White House, as far as you can see, 14th Street, cloudy. I'm talking about thick as a flare, faggots, homosexuals, sissies, clubs and things. 14th Street. See, if you ain't been there, you don't know I do. And listen, and I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds of yards of them on both sides of the street. Washington's always been a dog lot. You understand what I'm saying? This is the reason you got the dog lots in up there now. And going on, you saying that they're talking about straightening it up, Washington. How you gonna straighten it up? When the evil is in Washington to start with. Your evil is in your politics. The evil is in the law. The whole Washington is evil. This is the reason that Texas is having hell. You understand what I'm saying? You got floods, you got fires, and everything coming upon you. If you listen, like I told you before, Alamance County flood. Before I told you before, and I'm telling you again, step out on your door up there and look at your clouds up here now and look at the heavens. Right here in Alamance County, you can't see no sun or nothing. You understand what I'm saying? And you're going to have another flood.
Yes, Alamance County is under a curse for what they done to me.
That you got in Alamance County. This is the reason that you got this stuff going on in Washington and talking about Donald Trump straightening it up. Donald Trump ain't going to straighten up a D thing. Nothing. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to get people killed, You're going to get people shot just like you done got another police officer shot and going on. You're going to get 5 or 6 more shot and ambushed. You understand what I'm saying? Keep on messing with folks here in Alabama County. You're going to have the same thing here. You got to quit messing with folks. Don't, listen, and let me tell you what he's talking about. Talking about he wanted all of the homeless people to leave Washington. What is this man doing? So making death threats and going on. What you go? Where in the H's are homeless people gonna go? You got homeless people right around here when you come in this way. You see what you're doing? You see what you're doing? All your senators, all your lawyers, and all your people that's got a pretty good job and thing walking around with neckties up under the neck and going on, and other folks working for you. You understand what I'm saying? Just listen. What you gonna do when these people get tired of what you're doing to them? You're gonna be, listen, I listen to that man talking about what he gonna do. He ain't gonna do nothing. You understand what I'm saying? If you mess with some of these folks, you're gonna get the same thing that these here folks got, them 40 got killed. You understand what I'm saying? You can't, listen, who in the H do you think's gonna come to your house in your yard and going on messing with you? These people will mess with you out on the street, bust your head wide open. You understand what I'm saying? I know people right now, if he walk up in the face, he get killed. You understand what I'm saying?
They'll come into church now and blow your brains out.
I tell you about Washington. You don't know nothing about Washington. I do. You understand what I'm saying? I got people buried in Arlington Cemetery. You see, understand? I got my sister, and listen, and her husband buried in Arlington Cemetery. You see what I'm saying? You people think I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do. You understand what I'm saying? You can come right out of the mountains, right into Arlington Cemetery, right out of the mountain, right out of Blue Ridge Mountain, if you know what you're doing. You understand what I'm saying? But you people, keep on doing what you're doing and keep on listening at Pharaoh.
You evil
You
ass,
know what I'm saying?
evil
It's
ass
gonna go
people.
down like a top. You understand what I'm saying? Now you can tell me when I get tired of talking this morning, because I usually just cut myself off. But you just tell me, say, your time's up. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, we got
Do what
five.
you want to do to me.
You're at 5 minutes
Say
now.
what?
You're at 5 minutes
Okay,
now.
listen. Good, okay. Okay, my time's up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, goodbye.
Thank you. All right. 222. Now, he usually times himself. He knows exactly when his time's up. It sounded like he was in his car. I don't know.
Have you noticed how people like him don't talk as long as them racist white folks? They love Trump. See, he loves Trump too. Harry does. And they think they on the right side of history. Oh, they just don't know. They are the filth of the earth. And we are the salt of the earth, and they are the filth. That filth got to go. I can't stay around no filth.
On Talk Line. All right, good morning. You're on Talk Line.
Good morning. Hey, how are you?
I am well.
There's another racist.
Well, it's me again. He's right. He's all these people he was talking about marching around up there in the 70s. The only problem was it's all Democrats.
Oh, you sorry Republican. You sorry Republican.
I suppose there was a Republican or two up there marching. You never.
Maybe one or two, but with the group he was talking about up there, it was pretty much all left-wing people. So, I mean, I swear he's a Trump man, Harry. I swear he is. It ain't come to him yet. Because what he talks about is all the things that Trump's trying to solve, the crime. That's what he's trying to solve.
Mm-hmm.
Crime can't solve crime. He is the crime. You sorry fucker. Y'all some dumbass, backwards ass people.
You ever thought that? I mean,
Y'all ain't got no good sense at all.
Muriel Bowser has been a better mayor up there than Manny. She really gets what's going on, and
she's sick of it. She's sick of it.
Well, no, what I'm saying is she understands what needs to happen, and she's, like you said, she's sick of the violence and the crime and all that kind of stuff, and she's ready for someone to help her. She's fine with that. And I think she's trying to play both sides of the street. When I was listening to her press conference, and she was trying to appease the people that are mad about this, as well as talk about what it'll be a good thing to have less crime, that sort of thing.
Yeah, less. I mean, it's awful up there. And, you know, the thing is that Charlie, I mean, Miss Meegan, he doesn't realize that they are attacking the people that work at the Capitol. I mean, they can't go to the cars without getting car tagged. They got this thing figured out.
Yeah, the homeless need to raid the Capitol. Let the homeless stay at the Capitol in the White House. Let the homeless stay, do what the insurrectionists did. I bet they'll get arrested. I bet they won't get pardoned.
Older than them, having them do it because they know there ain't nothing going to happen to them. From what Judge Janine said last night, that what was happening is that these kids were doing all this and beating up people, and you know, it's awful. And then they go to court and they send them to family court, and they don't do anything to them. I mean, she said there's actually been situations up there where she never sees the cases because they don't ever get to her. And, you know, if somebody gets shot up there, and it's somebody below 17, they give them probation. If somebody shoots somebody, put them on probation. You know, and I mean, really, Washington, D.C. is terrible. And I mean, it should be a place that anybody in this country could go and visit as a vacation and enjoy looking at all our history, good or bad, but and feel safe to do it. I mean, you know, it's become, if you read about what has Washington, D.C. become in certain areas.
You know what? We didn't have this problem to that sorry-ass Trump y'all put in office.
You know, it's terrible. And, you know, I just don't understand why people, you know, Hakeem Jeffries, he's pitching a fit about, you know, them bringing 800 National Guards in there and some FBI people to clean this up. He is throwing a fit. Why would he be pitching a fit over that? I mean, why does he say that's wrong?
Well, I mean, if even one thing, you know, that they're down 900 police officers, but yet they're going to bring in, you know, National Guard, that's a good thing. I think that'd be helpful, not bad. I don't get it. I think that the Democrats a lot of times are going after things that they think are, you know, are going to get them some votes or whatever. I don't know why they think that being opposed to law and order in Washington is going to get them votes. I don't get that.
I don't either, but, you know, it comes down to one thing again, proactive policing.
And you know what? You're going to get some proactive citizens right back at them sorry-ass crook policemen.
We go down. You can bet on it. But if you're not, then you know, if you got officers, a shortage of officers because the officers don't want the job because they don't want to proactively police because they're afraid of their life. You know, they're going to get killed. You know, that happens in the military all the time. You don't have a choice. But you know, it's a sad state of affairs in our country. And it's just not Washington D.C. It's Chicago, L.A., all these places. You know, that if they could put a presence of officers or National Guard in these really bad areas, it would slow down. There's no question it would slow down.
Y'all white supremacists will not. Y'all white supremacists will not rule us. You better get that in your hard heads. You will never rule us again. Never.
It's made as an excuse. Well, these people don't have the money, so, you know, they ought to be able to just go in there and steal whatever they want to. You know, Mayo Smith got on there yesterday, started running, I mean, just talking about, you know, if I was a Republican, I'd be ashamed to go into a Mexican restaurant, or I'd be ashamed to go into a Chinese restaurant. And then she cursed. She said, these big F-fat-A
they
days
need to
that
stay.
I like crap around. But, you know, that crazy kind of stuff, this is just got crazy. And, you know, to sit up there and make comments like that, and then people that talk like that, that's like, our country needs to just put every police officer in retirement and just say, let the people go steal, kill, whatever, and, you know, we'll send them to a social worker. I mean, that's at the point that they're at. That's the Democratic Party's platform. Don't arrest anybody. Just, you know, don't charge anybody.
Yeah, blame the Democrat.
Don't have no police officers. We're just gonna let anybody do what they want to do, and if they, you know, if they do something, we'll just send them over to talk to a social worker.
Yeah. All right.
And the idea of sending social workers on calls that are criminal calls, there's no social worker gonna do that. He ain't about to go out there and try to talk to somebody with a gun in his hand who's already shot 3 people into laying the gun down.
Yeah, right. All right.
See, that's what y'all like. That's all y'all about is some damn ammunition where y'all can blow up somebody and kill somebody. That's all y'all about. That's all y'all study is bombing up somebody. Y'all white folks. Y'all ain't nothing but murderers and steal. Y'all ain't nothing but devils. You're evil.
Domestic disturbance is more dangerous sometimes than going to a bank robbery or a robbery in progress, because you expect things to happen at a robbery in progress, and all of a sudden something happens bad in a domestic situation. You know, police officers have special training for domestic situations, but social workers going, you know, I think social workers are good to help where social workers are helping, but not with police work. That, you know, when there's danger involved, these police officers are trained to do that stuff. You know, I just think it makes no sense to me that if Washington D.C. is dangerous and they want to try to make it better, you know, whatever they do, will it make it better? We don't know. We'll find out. If it doesn't make it better, then everybody will be against it. If it makes it better, it'll be, you know, some people will give them credit for doing it, you know. But I believe that when Washington D.C. is down by 900 police officers, and they want to send in National Guard to help with that, I think that's a good idea, not a bad idea. How are you today?
All right.
Good.
Now, I've been hearing about Washington, D.C. Let me say this up front. President Trump and the Republicans are hypocrites. On January the 6th, they begged Trump to call in the National Guard. He didn't call them. Cops were being beat up. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's concerned about the police. When they was beating the hell out of the police on January the 6th, Trump sat there watching, eating hamburgers in the White House and didn't call them. And I heard people on this station and all across the country saying Trump did not have the authority to call the police. It was up to Nancy Pelosi to call the police. To call in the National Guard on January the 6th. All of a sudden, Trump get this newfound authority that he already had. And now the Republicans, the same one who's sticking up to Trump in now, saying it's a good idea to call in to call the National Guard in. So you can see what hypocrites the people are. Even they're talking about crime. Look at January the 6th. If you concerned about order in D.C., they would have called out the National Guard then. You had people, and the people who beat up the police on January the 6th, they were pardoned. They didn't send them to jail or what you call mollycoddling. They didn't give them no probation. They just outright pardoned those people. And so Trump all of a sudden found this newfound authority
authority and consciousness about what's going on in D.C. is pure hypocritical. And I heard you saying it should be political, and that's all it is. The whole thing is political. Trump wanted to show his authority and put all people paying Bundy in charge of the D.C. police. It's I don't see how these people, especially Trump, even look himself in the mirror after January the 6th. And now, all across the country, well, he's doing the right thing. He's got authority. Everybody ran January 6th, ran Nancy Pelosi. That is the craziest thing I ever seen going on in America right now. Republicans are blowing in the wind. The wind blows south, they go south. North, east, west, they blow with the wind. It's the weakest time that I can think of in history. The Republicans, they're giving away the authority of the Congress. All this stuff about tariffs, all that stuff should be Congress doing. That the same people who were constitutionalists, strict constitutionalists, are now sorry why Trump tears up the Constitution, disregards the Constitution. And you don't hear anything from the Republicans. When Obama was in office and Biden was in office, they were strict constitutionalists. Some people even cried at the idea of hearing the Constitution read. But now they're silent, and they're giving Trump complete authority. And I used to wonder, or could a dictator ever take over a country with the support? Now I see how a dictator can take over. And what these people do not understand, they're all for Trump going after different people now, and the Republicans are cheering. When all those people are subdued, no longer have any voice, what is the dictator?
Exactly. They got all these dumbass motherfuckers to vote for Trump because they dumb as hell, and they fooled them, and they got Trump in, and now Trump don't care shit about them. Now they crying. They some sorry ass dumbass motherfuckers. They won't listen to nobody's truth. We try to tell them the truth, and they try to kill us. So they got what they voted for. Sorry ass, dumb ass motherfuckers on the joint European slave union ship. Going straight to hell.
Socialized students, we have socialized, we have social services, and we have social security. And I know people say, oh, that's just the name. But no, people who are getting free checks from the government, socialism. People are getting free medicine from the government, socialism. People going to school, free socialism. Socialism is rampant throughout our society.
Okay.
But the people want to call it something else in America.
All right. Appreciate it.
Trump is certainly a dictator. He's headed that way, and he's got the people around. He's surrounded by people who are going to support that. People out in the public, like this radio station, are going to support that until Trump turns on them. And then we heard the difference.
All right.
Okay, Howard.
All right. I think that Charlie, what you're saying is there's a lot of hypocrisy involved in all of this stuff. Lots of hypocrisy, and I think the hypocrisy of January 6th in this particular thing, sticks out quite a bit. So I don't disagree with that. But you got to remember something. You are getting two things confused. The people that were calling on Nancy Pelosi to call out police, they weren't talking about Nancy Pelosi calling out the National Guard. Nancy Pelosi not in charge of the National Guard. Trump is. Now, maybe Trump should have called out the National Guard. He wants to call it out now. Wouldn't it have been a good idea to call it out back then? Well, he wanted Nancy Pelosi to get the Capitol Police, who she was in charge of, get the Capitol Police to take care of the situation, not the National Guard. So, people that are talking about Nancy Pelosi not doing something, she didn't do anything with the Capitol Police. That was what she was involved in.
Well, hell, they was fighting the damn insurrectionists. Y'all some insurrectionists. Y'all don't know what y'all doing, and y'all gonna pay for what you're doing too. You ain't fooling us. You are not fooling us.
Yet there were pardoned, and some people that went to jail, served their time, got out, and they were pardoned later. But there were a lot of people on January 6th got what they deserved. They went to jail for doing some of the things that they did, and I think that's exactly what should have happened. If you were hurting police officers or hurting,
And the man in charge should be put in the gas chamber. Yes, he should. Or hung up in the tree like y'all do this. Like y'all done us. Why don't you hang up in the tree like y'all done black people? That's what he need to be done. He's a sorry-ass piece of shit.
Violent. I would not have done that. Now, I might have pardoned the people that didn't do any violence at all, but I certainly would not have pardoned anybody that was violent, not at all. I thought that was a terrible mistake, just like I've always said. The violence that was there on January 6th needed to be punished. People needed to be charged, tried, and if convicted, punished for violence. Some little old lady who walked into the Capitol, saw that this was not where she wanted to be, and turned around and walked out. She doesn't need to go to jail, but they put her in jail anyway. Now, that was the problem. They wanted to.
Y'all do that to black people all the time, so that ain't nothing new.
People that didn't need to have the book thrown at them. That was the problem. And I think that in the case of what's going on now, certainly.
You tried to kill me for no damn reason. Only because I wanted to tell the truth about something. You want to kill me, you sorry ass bitches. Y'all ain't nothing but goddamn devils.
Then you can holler hypocrisy, because that's fair. That's a fair.
I know it's fair, and that's why I'm calling you a goddamn hypocrite, because that's what you is. You're a goddamn sorry ass piece of goddamn shit.
That's a fair question. Absolutely fair. Let me tell you about Lizzie's Playthings. Lizzie's Playthings, BAG, Burlington Graham.
Hi, Todd Davis, AG in Alamance County High School football. A perfect combination for over 50 years.
To BAG. All right, 222-9224. Let me tell you about Oak Creek Retirement Community. Okay, 222-9224. There must be a middle ground approach. The compromise should be a program that starts with enhanced border security, prevents criminals from entering the country. And once those are implemented,
the criminals are already in the country, in the government. In the government of deception that y'all made up is called God. Y'all are not God, you sorry ass pieces of shit.
Immigration, and believe a pathway to citizenship must exist. At this point, Americans overwhelmingly, 85%, support Dreamers. These are kids that were brought here by their parents illegally, but they didn't have any choice. 78% also support allowing undocumented adults a pathway to citizenship in the latest Gallup poll, of removing even law-abiding documented immigrants. Next priority needs to be the economy. Quite simply, if Democrats want to bring working-class voters back into the fold, they need a new approach on economic policy. In 2024, a majority, 53%, trusted Trump rather than Kamala Harris, 46%, to handle the economy. CNN exit polls told the Democrats that. According to the aforementioned Wall Street Journal poll, even though 53% disapprove of Trump's economic policies, Voters also trust Republicans over Democrats for the economy. Not going to be Mandami and a victory in New York. That will cause a lot of problems. So what the Democrats have to do is they're going to have to come up with some new ideas. If they just, one of the things that's going on is hating Trump, disliking Trump. Every time Trump does something, they want to say it's bad, even when it isn't. That's not going to win elections, and they are working hard to come up with, ultimately, Democrats find themselves at a crossroads, out of power, out of favor with a broad swath of the electorate, and able to mount only pro-formative protests against Trump and the Republican Party. The last time the Democrats were in this position was in 1980 and in the 80s and the early 1990s. The centrist, forward-looking agenda was
what it is. The Republicans are just they just don't want to give up their white power. Their white power is just their ego.
Harriet, you were saying that Trump couldn't have called in the National Guard, or?
No. There are many people, me being one of them, that thinks he probably should have called in the National Guard. But the complaint between Nancy Pelosi and Trump was not that Nancy Pelosi was supposed to call in the National Guard. It was Nancy Pelosi should have done something about the Capitol Police having more people on staff, because they knew this riot was coming, or they had an inclination it was. But they weren't trying to get Nancy Pelosi to call in the National Guard. That's where the mistake was. President Trump is in charge of the National Guard. Nancy Pelosi was in charge of the Capitol Police.
Because he have called in the Capitol Police, Trump?
No. Trump does not have direct authority over. I think he could have worked out a way, maybe, he would have got called on the carpet for it, but no, he was not in direct charge of the Capitol Police. The Speaker of the House is in direct charge, and then the Chief of the Capitol Police actually does the day-to-day operation of them. But the President is not in charge of the Capitol Police. He's in charge of the National Guard.
But he could have called in the National Guard.
He could have called in, and there are a lot of people that say that he should have. And I think that it would have been very difficult, because you don't call the National Guard in on it. They're not a quick response team. It would have taken a while, and the whole Capitol thing didn't last long enough. That's what the criticism was about. They thought the Capitol Police should handle it, and not the. That's what Trump said later on, that the National Guard was not the proper way to handle that. I don't know that I agree with that. If he could have gotten them there, that would have earlier. That would have helped.
It's that when it first started, we should have, yes.
See what I'm saying. Here's the thing, and I think this is important. We knew in advance, Nancy Pelosi knew this, and the Capitol Police knew it, that there was something that might happen, and there were people calling for more Capitol Police, and they didn't get them. Now, if Trump knew that, he could have called in advance the National Guard and called them up, and then there wouldn't have been a problem at all. And I think that is an absolute fact. If he knew that there was going to be trouble, he could have called the National Guard, just like the chief of the Capitol Police could have brought in more people. Those two things are, it's Michael.
Trump was the one that wanted them to do that. He wasn't going to call nobody. He wanted that.
That's why I appreciate Charlie, is because he's going to tell his truth. If you're wrong, there's a lot of people that call me and I'm like, oh my God. If the person is wrong because you like that person, or just because you think that person is giving you money, you should say that person is wrong. And whatever they did, they is wrong. But they won't do that. And that's why I like listening to Charlie and you. Because if you think that person was wrong in what they did, whether you like that person or not, whether that person was doing something for you or not, you're going to say, yeah, that person was wrong in doing it. And that's why I'm so glad that when you and Charlie stopped that time calling, I'm glad he stopped that. And I just wanted to let him know that I appreciate him calling and I love listening to him.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank
take care.
Yeah, take care. Okay, take care. Yeah, see, you know, I understand. My difficulty with Charlie in the beginning was I thought he was mad at me. I thought every time he called up at the radio station, he was mad. And I said that to him one day, and he said, "I'm not mad." And I said, "Well, you sound mad." And he said, "Yeah, people say that about me all the time. People said I sound mad. I'm not mad." And once you understand that he's very blustery, and he sounds like he's mad at you when he talks to you. He's not mad. He's not the least bit mad. And once you understand that, it's easier. And one of the things that I have said, and I've said this many times about Charlie, is he has a different perspective. Now, I don't agree with his perspective all the time. I think he has his opinions and I have mine. I feel differently about what's going on in Washington. I think that the crime situation in Washington, whatever it is right now, could be better with this takeover. It could be.
Well, this is not. We all know this is about to. He don't want to talk about
This could be a big mistake.
Epstein. So he's trying to not talk about that. He's trying to create a new subject.
What is the reaction?
He can't run from that. He can't hide.
Good, we'll know pretty quick, or bad. But the point is, you can't just say it's a terrible thing to do with not, and you know, you of course you can say that, or you can say it's a great thing, because we don't know exactly how it's going to work out. We'll see. 222-9224. You know, if you
come back peaceful. Whoa, easy now.